Well, I wonder what Gav, the Tottenham fan, wants to say. Good morning, Gav.
Morning, Gav.
Morning, fellas. I'm just wondering if anyone's going to touch on whether or not Saka should be respectively yellow carded for his actions last night, because I didn't see it. I was at work listening on talkSPORT, but what I was getting, Saka did put his leg out. He did go down, and then he spent a minute or two just laying on the grass, punching the grass in absolute agony, requesting an air ambulance and everything else. But as soon as the final whistle goes and he knows that he's not getting himself a penalty, he gets up, he sprints up the pitch to the halfway line, and he's being restrained by his own training staff from not attacking the ref. And
well, I tell you what, Gav, if you'd have heard Rio on telly last night, he was before I went to bed, I could hear him saying, "I've got my hands in my head. I can't believe it. How is that not a penalty? How is that not a penalty?" So Rio was sucked in. Yeah, he thought it was a guaranteed penalty. I met Ali in the lift this morning coming up, and he went, "Was that a penalty?" I'm like, I don't know, I've seen them given, but I'm not sure. I don't think so. He says, good, because I don't think it was a penalty either. So we agreed.
Yeah.
And we're now getting accused of having Bayern Munich shirts on.
If it's not a penalty, then someone needs to look into a retrospective card for Saka, because it's for what he's intending to do, and the fact that, you know, it's another one of these instances where a player's rolling around in absolute agony. Someone get me a surgeon really quickly, and then the whistle goes, and they know that they're not going to get what they want, and then straight away, suddenly he's fit enough to get to his feet and sprint halfway up the pitch.
So you're saying we should take action now. Gav, let me move on to broadcast the big Arsenal man. Thanks for your call. Harry Sidney joins us, who was shaking his head there. Harry, morning.
Harry, good morning.
Morning, guys. How you doing?
Good. So where do you stand on the two big issues here, Harry? On Saka, penalty, and Gabriel picking the ball up. Where do you stand?
Okay, so I don't think the Saka one was a penalty. If I take my Arsenal hat off for a minute, I do think Saka's the one that engineers the contact. I can see what he's trying to do. You know, we saw it at the weekend. We saw Harvey Elliott leave his foot in, and Wan-Bissaka made a silly challenge, and Harvey Elliott made the most of it and won Liverpool a penalty. So it happens all the time in the modern game. I don't think there should be a witch hunt against Bukayo Saka because he's tried to win his team a penalty in a Champions League tie. It is what it is. The referee got it right. Instead of talking about Saka, why don't we give praise to the referee? Because we never do that. All we do is criticise them. And on this occasion, he's got it spot on.
Good point.
For the Gabriel one, I've watched it back. I didn't notice it at the time, by the way, in the stadium. I don't think anybody in the stadium picked up on it. So I think with that one, I heard somebody who was working as a sort of pitch side reporter say that the referee came over and explained to the Bayern bench that he told Arsenal to take that again. I don't know if that's true.
Well, the interesting one, Harry, is Tuchel said that his players told him, the ref said, look, it was a kid's mistake. It was so ridiculous. It's a kiddie's mistake, him picking the ball up after the game had restarted. But the game was so big, I daren't give a penalty. That's what, at ball accounts, the ref said to a couple of Bayern players.
Yeah, Thomas Tuchel came out and said that, and maybe that was the case. You know, I don't think that, you know, you should be given a penalty for that if you're unsure as to whether or not they've made as he said, a kiddie's mistake. If he has put the ball down thinking one's taking the goal kick and Gabriel thinks he hasn't taken it yet, I'm going to place it, because Arsenal do that. They do. The centre back often puts the ball down and rolls it to the keeper, who then goes long. I don't know. Look, by the letter of the law, it probably should be a penalty if the ball was live. Yeah. But I'll be honest, Alan, I didn't notice it at the time, so I can't sit here now and say it's a stonewall penalty. I think it was a great game between two cracking sides, and that's what we should be focusing on.
Harry Kane?
I was going to say, Harry, I've got to say, I loved the game last night. Thoroughly enjoyed it. We're discussing, are Bayern slight favourites? Arsenal can certainly go to Germany and win.
Yeah, they can. They're certainly capable. I think you have to make Bayern slight favourites now, though. I think there was a lot of talk in the build-up to this game about Bayern not being the Bayern of old, etc., etc. But when you've got individual quality like they have, you know, you're always a threat. You're always a danger. Leroy Sané's run in the lead up to the penalty was incredible. Just on Harry Kane, because I know you mentioned Harry Kane. For me, that's a red card, and I don't know why we're hearing lots of outrage.
Harry,
about
I've just seen it again there. Just as you were speaking, I've watched it again. Harry backs into him and holds his arms out. Listen, if it's a penalty, I'll say it's a penalty, I promise you. But I don't think that's a red card. I'm sorry. I think it's what angle you see it from. Mm-hmm. But Harry knows he's coming and he just backs in, and his arms are... He's got two arms wide, but it's not a blatant...
He doesn't
have
raise
a bit
it.
of that.
He doesn't raise it. We watched it a couple of times, Harry, and I can understand. I can totally understand, particularly some of the Arsenal fans wanting a red card, but I'm looking at it and I think he doesn't raise his arm. He has a look because he's trying to protect and get in front of the ball and protect it. I think the referee got that one right as well. I thought it was a yellow, mate.
Maybe it was. This is tribalism in football, though, isn't it? You know,
I still think you'll get the result over there. I do. I think you'll get it. Yeah, I do. Thank you.
Thanks, Harry.
Harry Simon there. It's murder in it. Trying to get, the bigger the game, the more.
It's great.
The more clouded it gets, doesn't it? Sometimes
it really is.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Alan Brazil. Thursday and Friday morning, 6 till 10. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.